Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flames of War battle report. The Soviets are on the go. After watching Sherry take him for a spin for the first time, I was itching to try him out myself. So luckily I had a day off, so I was able to squeeze it in before all the rugby kicks off. And Dave was on the line as well, happy to go against me with the SS. We're gonna try out one of the new missions from the Soviet Bagration book, and still again waiting for the German equivalent. So Dave is just going to use the D-Day SS book to go against me. So here's today's mission: swinging the sickle. Hopefully you'll be able to read it. I have to take a photo from the book itself. Very interesting. The objectives disappear as you go out to the game, so going further and further back, which I think is really nice. And phase withdrawal, written in this one, I think is better than the other one in the rearguard mission, because this one, when you withdraw units, any delay counters you have go as well. So you're not really getting really hit hard by that withdrawal, and I think it's an improvement. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to play it. I think this is a nice written out mission, and obviously I've already played it now because we've done the game and this is me editing and everything, and I would really like to play it with other factions as well. So here's my list today. It was a tough decision not to take the list that Sherry used last week. It was a list I'd written out to use, so it's pretty much the same but with a few differences. So I've dropped the little mortars just to give me a few more points. So basically I'm taking the IS-85s rather than the IS-2s, and taking basically the two versions of Lucky that the Soviet have, which I'll go over later. And yeah, so pretty much this is the models I have at the moment, so I got a few more coming at the moment. Was looking at the regular rifle company, motor rifle company, and the Hero shock rifles, but I didn't have the bases and I haven't painted up my flamethrowers for them yet, so I couldn't take them without having flamethrowers. And I'm also looking at the command cards as well for different formations. They look really interesting, but I need to beef up the Soviet forces I have at the moment before I start tinkering with it. So I'll have a little break of the Soviets after this game, so when I come back we'll have something different. And here we have the infantry units of the Hero Motor Rifle Company. So 2 SMG teams to the HQ, and then each platoon has 10 DPMG teams and a Commissar team, and I've added a HMG team as well. It's really hard not to take the motor company battalions for me because the rate of fire is good, and also it's the same when they're pinned, and hitting an assault in 2 is pretty tasty as well. Okay, so this is the SMG company. So there's 7 PPSH SMG teams, a Commissar team, and a flamethrower. So hopefully I'll try not to lose it this time. But again, it's still in the formation, so just beefs it up that a little bit more. Okay, so still in the formation, we have the 120mm mortars and the 4 T-34s, and that is it for that formation. So this is the support for my formation: 3 IS-85s and 4 of the 76mm guns. All proxies here, same models just about, but the barrels are all different. So here in the command card section we have the RPG-6 anti-tank grenades. We have this twice. That's applied to the 2 motor rifle companies and under the cover of smoke. And yes, we know now how to do it properly, but this video was done the day before, so didn't quite understand the rules yet. But from now on I'll be able to do it properly. I said I've wanted to take more than 1 lucky card, and now I can, which is slightly better and make your own luck. So basically discard it before you roll anything though, and you ought to get 4+. So you have to decide whether you really need to use this card, but again, it's always nice to have that little reroll. Here's Dave's One SS list. He did this himself, so again, good in building his list, but he seems to have caught the 9th SS bug like everyone else, but who can blame him having changing your aggressive infantry to careful. So yeah, and I immediately regretted not having the IS-2s as soon as I saw that he had 4 SS Tigers on his list, but there we go. I still have anti-tank 12, so they're not unkillable, but they are 4 of them, and the SS Tigers are rather good, and he's also got the Tiger Race card as well. So these are the infantry section of the Armoured Panzergrenadier formation. So we have the HQ with his half-track, and then we have 2 full platoons of 7 rifle MG teams with half-tracks, and only 1st platoon has a Panzerfaust. Still in formation, we have 2 grills, so nice to see these guys again. 4 8cm mortars, and technically these guys won't be part of the formation, but 4 MG42s. I say that because they're going to have the machine gun nest applied to them, so then that makes them independent units and not part of the formation. And he is the only support, but it's the bulk of the points. It's 4 SS Tiger 1s, and they also have a Tiger Race card as well, so that's quite bad for me. Okay, so command cards, we have the best infantry for 9th SS, so that's applied to the HQ and the 2 rifle platoons, so again changes them to careful and veteran 3+. Machine gun nests for the MGs and the Tiger Races, and before Dave deployed them we did roll, and he got the rapid fire. So his unit leader gets to fire 3 times when halted. So not too bad. Wasn't the one he was after, but there we go. Still better than nothing, I suppose. Okay, so here is today's table. We have basically the left section, that's swamp. So I ran out of tree bases, so I had to use the rocky ones. In the middle we have a little bit of a town with a church. 2 hills right above that with a forest, and then we have a little small farm, and Dave will pick the side without the swamp, so I'm gonna have to crawl my way out of these and get into the town, and that is it. So we will get into the next segment. Okay, so here's the Oracle of Battle section. Jen is got the SS for the victors today. She seems to go with Tigers most of the time when it comes to this prediction. She has had 2 wrong in a row this time, and she is devastated about this, but we will see if she's been able to tune her skills in and that fame hasn't got to her and the pressure. So let's see if she's right today, shall we? Okay, so this is Dave's SS deployment. He's put the 1st platoon of the Armoured Panzergrenadiers in ambush. Those are the ones with the Panzerfaust. Now, in this terrace building on the left, we have 2nd platoon, and then right on the very end, we have the machine gun nest, and then across the alleyway, another machine gun nest. I am ranged in there, but there's smoke there now, so that's going to be a little bit harder for me. In the terrace at the back, we have the HQ, and the half-tracks are parked in the street. This guy was put here because otherwise he'd be under the template. Going further back, this farm we have another MG nest, and then the hayloft we have another MG nest. And then we have 2 grills in the courtyard, and then this forest we have the 8cm armoured mortars, and the 4 SS Tigers are in cover behind the church. Nice strange with the deployment of this where you put the objectives. So I put my first one here, this will disappear in turn 3, and then here's objective 2, that'll be disappearing a bit later, and then the final objective is back here, and Dave was able to place this one. So as you can see, this is where I placed my smoke barrage for my undercover of smoke. This game was done before the last Soviet game went out, so probably when this goes out I'll actually know when to actually use it, but so don't scream at me yet, because you've already told me. At this moment in time I don't know. So this is where Dave has put his ranged in markers. This is the grills,
and then the 8cm mortars here. Now, me seeing a bit of an opportunity to try and sneak this early on, I've got my T-34s on the far left for me, and hopefully I can get onto this objective turn 1, and Dave's going to have to react and pull stuff to try and deal with me over there. But it's going to be a lot of ifs and buts because those Tigers are just going to tear me to shreds. But to support the T-34s, the IS-85s over there with my second company. In the centre I have my first company with the HQ. The HQ's job today is to get into that tower to spot for artillery. I have the 76mm guns in the centre as well, as well as my other big mortars. And then right on the far right I have my SMG company, so luckily they got some smoke to cover them as they push their way into the town, but we'll see what Dave does, and if he hasn't lost anything by turn 2 he will have to withdraw stuff. So I definitely think this one, as mentioned before, is an improvement on the other withdrawal game. So, Soviet turn 1 movement, I cross-country dashed my infantry up and then did a follow me, so that's how some of them are now in the swamps. With this first company I did a successful blitz move and then they did a tactical. The HQ did a cross-country dash, stopping 8 inches away, and then did a follow me but failed. IS2s did a cross-country dash and ended up by here. And the second company did a blitz move like first company and did a tactical, and the T-34s did a cross-country dash, tried to do a follow me but failed, but 2 of them are currently sitting on the objective with a little bit of a hill in the way, so that's quite nice. So the Tiger's going to have to move to engage. And that is me for turn 1. Only thing I got to do is shoot my mortars. I'm going to keep my ranged in where I am, so we'll see if I can get rid of any MG nests. So I didn't hit anything in the shooting phase, so the motivation was nice and easy for the Germans, it was none. But Dave has been forced to pop his ambush, so with the concealment he's been able to put his Armoured Grenadiers here, and then he'll have to move to contest the objective, because it might not work the Tigers trying to move and shoot them, because he might miss, because we know what this game is like with dice. So yes, I've kind of forced his hand over here, which I was kind of expecting him to do. So we'll see if the T-34s are still there come my next turn. So we'll go into German movement first and see what they get up to. Okay, so German movement, the Tigers have done a tactical. So the good thing is they've been able to draw sight onto the 2 T-34s that are contesting. The SS Grenadiers have moved down the hill and are within 4 inches of a Panzerfaust shot if the Tigers can't do the job, but they are contesting it now, so the T-34s, if they're still here, will have to wipe them all out to try and get rid of them. And that is where we end German movement. Nothing moving in the town. They've locked this down in this little roadblock over here, so we'll be going into the shooting. Okay, so shooting phase. The 8cm mortars ranged in here first time. Basically hit everything that was under the template, so that was 3 rifle teams, 2 of which they killed, and the executive officer of which they killed as well. The Tigers then toasted the 2 T-34s that they could see, and that was it. So now we're going to Soviet turn 2, and I've got a lot of things to rally. Okay, so motivation, the T-34s are okay. First company though was in a bit of rocky ground. I rolled a 2 for my motivation, so I thought, oh, I'll have to use my lucky card. I did, and I rolled worse and got a 1. So they remain pinned. The HQ though is okay, so he can go up into the tower and do his tasks I have assigned for him. And other than that, my flanks are okay to move, but these guys are going to have to dig in now, so let's see how that works out. Okay, so for my movement, turn 2, the T-34s remain still because I might want to shoot some stuff with them. The second company moved up to support them. IS-2s tried to do a blitz move but failed, so I was going to try and get them to a good position to fire on the Tigers, but that's not going to be happening. HQ is now up in the tower. First company have managed to dig in though, which is good for them. And the SMG company, sorry everyone, trying to muddle then. I've dug them in for now because there's too much firepower in that town. The half tracks are facing the other way, the HQ's in there as well, and I'm just gonna see which unit he's withdraws at the moment, so we'll see what happens. But I do have artillery this turn, so hopefully I can whittle more stuff down. So we'll see what happens in the shooting phase. Okay, so my shooting, the IS-2s missed everything. My infantry took out 2 bases and pinned the first platoon of the grenadiers. The T-34s then got another kill. I ranged in my artillery final attempt on the hill. This is the 76mm guns, I couldn't really see anything else. But I did not, I did get 1 hit, but Dave saved it. Again repeated my bombardment on the machine gun nest, but with the smoke I'm just not hitting anything. And that is it. So basically we're going into German shooting, and all they've got is a pinned, but first of all we need to start withdrawing something. Okay, so German motivation only had a pinned down unit, but they did not rally. And then they had 6 units total, so that was 1st platoon, the 8cm mortars, the Tigers, 2nd platoon, the HQ and the grills. So they had to withdraw a unit, and the grills have gone. Unfortunately, they didn't contribute anything to the game, but they were probably the best unit at the moment to go. But good thing for Dave is he won't be withdrawing anything next turn, and if he hasn't lost any units, he will have to do it in turn 4. But until then, he's got infantry that are pinned down, and we'll have to look to dig in. But so they got a lot of MG fire from those half tracks. And yes, and that's why I remembered I was meant to kill them more than anything. But there we go, I've got plenty of infantry for him to shoot down anyway. So we'll get into the movement. Okay, so German movement. Dave mounted up his grenadiers because they moved backwards away from the enemy and have gone behind the hill. The Tigers, though, are now moved to contest the objective, with 2 looking to get rid of the T-34s here, and then the other 2 at the IS-85s, and all front armour on, so no easy shots for me. There is more movement in the town. We have the 2nd company has left the terraced house, and they've moved into a position behind the tree line, so they can see the SMG company, and the rest are moved into the bank behind, and the half tracks are moved along accordingly to stay within 6 inches of the unit leader. And that's movement. So we'll see now what the shooting does. So in the shooting, Dave actually started with a smoke barrage that is covering my anti-tank guns at the back, and just one of the IS-85s. In the Tigers then managed to kill one and kill one of the T-34. So I'm last standing with the T-34 over here. The Grenadiers got 3 hits on me in total. I failed 2, but luckily, because I dug them in, they were safe from the firepowers. So that is it for the shooting, and now we're going into my turn 3. Okay, so with my motivations, I managed to rally 1st company. Then I made a big decision, and I made my own luck on the T-34, because I want him to make one final charge and hopefully take out a Tiger or bail one, and I will take that from there then. So let's get into the movement. Okay, so movement, we can see the anthill here, but the T-34 has got in behind all of the Tigers, so hopefully that will help me out a bit. The IS-2s passed the IS-85s have passed a blitz move, so this is what you get for using proxies. 2nd company did do a follow me, but failed, so I tried to get a few more in. 1st company, however, did pass their follow me, so a few in the church and a lot of pushed up, and the same with the SMG company. I realised that last time I had my flamethrower more at the back to protect him, but now he's so far back he can't do what I wanted to do in the first place, so he's just gonna have to they're just gonna have to go in and assault. So that is it. So now we're going to the shooting, and hopefully I can whittle down some Germans and maybe get into some assaults. Otherwise I'm gonna lose a lot of guys, but I have a lot of room to shoot at, so he has to split everything. Okay then, so what happened here, the T-34 hit, and basically I put it right by here so you can swap it, but then Dave bounced a hit. The IS-85s managed to get 2 hits. I put one on the front and then one on the side. Dave managed to swap it both onto front ones. He did equal 1 dice roll past the other, and then I fluffed my firepower. So now the infantry are going to have to do it the very, very, very hard way, and hopefully I can limit the amount of firepower going in on these poor guys. So we'll there's going to be a lot of assaults this turn, and the Russians are going to have to do some good Russian stuff and hope for the best. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so 2 assaults went bad, 1 went good. So first assault went in on the MG nest, managed to get in, but the 3 guys I managed to get in all died. The next lot managed to get in and managed to finish off both because the counterattacks and whatnot. And then one's onto the Tigers. I've got 4 guys I assaulted with, 2 managed to get in, hit every time, but Dave's armor saves, I just can't crack the SS, and the 4 brave Soviets who went in are now no longer with us. So now we go into SS turn 3. Okay, so German motivation, the only one they had to do was the rally for 2nd Platoon, and they passed. The objective goes the start of Defenders turn 3, which it has. Total units left on the table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the SS gain a delay token, so if they stay like this for next turn, they will have to withdraw something else. And that is it. So now we're going into German movement. Okay, German movement. All the Grenadiers are now gone back into this building, and the SS Tigers did a successful blitz move and went further backwards just to get a little bit further away from the infantry. And that is it for German movement, and now we're going into the shooting again. Okay, so in the shooting, the T-34s are now no longer here, and we are last standing on the IS-85s, all thanks to the Tigers. The SMG company has lost 3 bases in the buildings due to the MG fire from the bank. So I failed a lot of saves, and then Dave rolled 3 6s for his firepower, and definitely on fire today his dice are, apart from when he just tried to do a follow me with the Tigers and failed. So going into my turn 4, I have a fair few pinned down units and I need to do something. Okay, so my motivation went perfect, shall we say. Everything unpinned, and the IS-85 is ready for another crack at the Tigers. Maybe I'll get something this time, but that is pretty good. So we'll get into my movement and see what I can jig around. Okay, so for my movement, the IS-85 has remained stationary. I've put 2 guys out just in case I get lucky with him, and I can knock on the door with a couple of Tigers and finish him off. These guys did a tackle off the hill and then a follow me. They're pushing their way round. Everyone else in first company is in the church, and then the SMG company is in this terrace building with the SSHQ. So I've got a flamethrower in there, so hopefully I can get rid of him. But there we go. So we're into the shooting, and let's hammer away with some artillery. Okay, so I hit a lot of stuff, and Dave failed a lot of saves, but I didn't pass a single firepower that turn. So basically I had a chance of killing 3 guys in the bank and the HQ, but unluckily with the flamethrower he actually passed his saves for that one, and the IS-85 missed both shots short range on the Tigers. I'm just going to shove these 2 guys in, and hopefully my assaults aren't going to be worse, and you'll only get the 4 shots, so hopefully that they can make it in. So we'll do an assault step and see what happens. Okay, so this is what happens when you just go, fuck it, go for it. So they went in, they took 4 hits going in actually, and I passed them all, so that was the first. I got 1 hit, and then Dave rolled a 1, and then I rolled a 5, so blurred up, so obviously using the RPGs. Dave did pass his counterattack, but he decided just to pull them back towards the other objectives, so pretty smart move really. He only had enough room to to take out one of my guys, and you never know, I might have been able to get another cheeky tiger, but that was it. So that is my turn 4, and now we're going into SS turn 4. Okay, so motivation wise, everyone is unpinned over in the little town over here, so they can get stuck into my SMG company if they want to. So Dave did have to withdraw because he had 6, and that was including the delay token, so he has pulled back the 8cm mortars. I think it's probably the best choice to do, really. And this is probably the only thing that is giving me a hope in hell of this game, but it is slowly petering out my advance. But I still have quite a bit of infantry left, but that's Soviet too, but soon to be no tanks. So let's see what happens in the German movement. Okay, so German movement. The guys behind the hill have done a cross-country dash back towards their base of operations. The Tigers have done a tactical further back, and everyone in the buildings here have gotten their half-tracks and did a tactical back as well. So it's like literally the worst thing I thought Dave would do for me. So basically I've got ground to cover and I have 1 tank. That isn't really doing much and will probably run away. But yeah, this is, I think, brilliant play. He's really castled himself into this corner over here, and he's got the MG nest still in the farmhouse and the barn. That's going to be really painful for me, so well, I'm going to have to see what I can do about this. So we'll see now, but first of all I have to weather the shooting from the Germans first, so we'll see what happens. Okay, right, so German shooting was rather good. They killed another SMG team from the company, and the Tigers managed to kill one of first company with their MGs. So the MGs are really lighting up things at the moment, and he's killing stuff with 6+ firepower, and I can't kill anything with a 3+ firepower. But we've worked out that Dave had pretty bad luck against Mike when he played him last, so everything's kind of rebalancing. But unfortunately, I'm the one who's getting balanced, so we'll see what I can do in my turn 5. Okay, motivation. The SMG company has remained pinned, and the guys in the church are sticking around unpinned, and the IS-85 is still with us, so that's quite good, shall we say. So now we'll go into my movement. Okay, so movement, my SMG company has moved back into the other terrace, so I did a little cheeky thing, so I just moved the buildings because they're identical. The first hero motor company is in this semi-detached, so there's actually not many of them left if they can fit in here. And the other one has done a cross-country dash with a failed follow me to here, and the IS-85 is just going to have one last little shot at the Tigers. And that's the unit leader as well, so if I get him, that'd be great. So let's get into the shooting. Okay, so in my shooting, the IS-85 missed. I think we realised that might happen. My commander ranged in the 76mm guns because they got the best range back here. I actually bailed out 2 of the half tracks, so I'll be happy with that, but Dave can just send him to the rear and he'll be happy. And then with his remaining ranging attempts, I managed to range in on the farm, which is by here, but I didn't get any hits on the MG nest, but it's ranged in ready, so fairly happy with that. So we'll be going into German turn 5. So before, at the start of his turn 5, this disappears, and we'll get into it. Okay, German motivation, the 2 bailed out half tracks are now back in, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So Dave gains a delay counter, so no units get removed this turn, and there won't be any next turn either. So I'm just going to have to buy my time and wait for the Germans to withdraw and hopefully pincer myself into a decent position on this objective and hope for the best, really. So we'll see what I can do. Okay, so the Germans have pulled back, so they're still in their half tracks here, and the HQ is pulled back still in his half track to the barn here, and first platoon are in the barn, but their half tracks are parked either side. 2 of the Tiger tanks have pulled back along the road, and the unit leader with his 3 shots has stayed here to try and get rid of the remaining IS-85. And that's it, so now we'll go into German shooting. Okay, so just a few sporadic MG fire. The MG nest poured into the semi-detached at long range, got 4 hits, and I rolled 4 ones. Yeah, 4 ones, and Dave only rolled 1-6, but yeah, there you got a kill. Over here, though, the unit leader got 1 hit with his 3, and I managed to bounce it. So he's staying around, not being killed, but not doing anything. So it's basically like Bran from Game of Thrones. He's going to do something at some point, or might not. So we're going into Soviet turn 6. Okay, so the SMG team remains pinned, but the IS-85 is still around. So he's bound to get a hit at some point, which is what I'm banking on, really. So we'll get into the movement and see what happens. Okay, so movement. I've put my hero motor rifles in the street behind the house because I figured out if he can't see me, he can't hit me, and then I can't fill my save, so I won't lose anyone. Similar prospect over here. I didn't have quite enough movement to get behind this forest, so I'm just going to take the long way round and wait them out, and hopefully some Germans will pull back before I need to do something. The only person I'm not moving is the idiot over here by the church, because he needs to do something, and if you can take out a tiger, then yeah, that'll be nice. So I will end my movement and shoot. Right, so with the shooting, the artillery back here managed to kill a grenadier team, and of course that would make them pinned. I did get a hit on a half track, but didn't get anything. I also missed the MG nest, and it's the guy in the tower who's calling the shots. And next, basically I scored 2 hits on the tiger at long range, but Dave passed his armor saves, and that is it. So now we're going into German turn 6. Okay, so the first platoon of the Grenadiers have rallied, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 units plus 1 delay counter, so not 6, so we gain another delay counter. So basically Dave's turn 7, he will be withdrawing another unit, and we'll see what it is. So we will be going into German movement. Okay, German movement. The unit leader has moved back with the rest. Still have firing shots on the IS-85, more shots than they did last time actually. Second platoon has moved into the farmhouse fully with the MG nest, and the half-tracks tried doing a cross here, but one of them failed. And that is it, and the HQ has moved into position, so he is in reroll for basically everything apart from this MG nest over here. Actually, we might be close to do that. But that was German movement. Not much shooting this turn. It'll just be the tigers, because pretty much I've hidden everything for now. Just going to have to wait it out, unfortunately. So we have German shooting with the tigers onto the poor IS-85. This IS-85 has just been hit 4 times with the tigers. I managed to bounce one, he then got penetrated twice, and then had a potential bail, which didn't really matter because basically Dave failed both of his firepower tests, so I was double bailed, and I failed the motivation, but my HQ is right next to him now, and he is stuck around, so he again is not dying, but again is not doing anything. So yeah, so the saga of the last IS-85 continues, and oddly I think he's my man of the match, but I don't know why. So we'll go into Soviet turn 7. Okay, so the SMG company has finally rallied, and as you can guess, the IS-85 is still here. So I'll go into my movement. I'm going to actually have to move him closer now because he's out of range of the tigers. So let's see if I can blitz him and hope for the best, but he will end up probably getting out of command range of the HQ, but I think the HQ has done as much as he can for him at the moment, so let's see where we end up in movement anyway. Okay, so the motor company has remained stationary, the SMG company is now hidden behind the bank, and the other motor company is behind the woods. The IS-85 passed a blitz move and is still within reroll range of the HQ. These guys did pass a follow me, so I bunched them up that a little bit more. So we can get into the shooting. I know I just did a blitz, but I will check to see if he's in range, because he might not be. So let's see how everything turns up. If he's moved a bit forward, you'll find the answer to my question. So let's hope my shooting can get whittled down the SS a little bit more. Okay, so with my shooting, the IS-85 missed. I missed all 3 teams that are in this barn from the 76s, and I hit everyone in this farmhouse thanks to the mortars, and I actually killed 2 as well. So I'm actually whittling down first platoon at last. And that is it for my shooting. So now we're going into German turn 7. Okay, so Dave has pulled back first platoon, and first platoon has been pulled back and second platoon has rallied. So now we go into German movement and see if they get up to anything. Okay, so German movement, the Tigers did the cross-country dash and have ended up by here, and the HQ has moved further back into cover in the courtyard. So there isn't going to be any German shooting because everyone's dashed and everything else is out of range. So there's the first one. So we will be getting into Soviet turn 8. Okay, Soviet movement. Both of these did successful blitz moves, and so basically this is actually what's left of First Company and the SMG Company. Not much, and might not be much longer, but I have to do something. Second Company is moving. There's about 3 teams in the barn, the rest couldn't make it. I did a blitz move with them as well, and the IS-85 is moved forward, so he is in range of the HQ. So hopefully I can pop that half track before I see what else I can do. So wish me luck, everyone. Okay, so I've taken another base out of this platoon. I managed to pin the MG nest, almost killed it, but no. I managed to get a hit with the IS-85 on the half track, but I failed my firepower, so that was almost. But we still have another turn as we go into German turn 8. German motivations are all good. So this is the last turn Dave will be moving his SS, because next turn, turn 9 for him, all he needs to do is pass his last stands. And that will be it. So movement, let's see what they get up to. Okay, so we have German movement. The Tigers have pulled back onto the objective, so they can't be sneaked up on, and they can actually get some shots at the IS-85, because why not? Why not kill him? What worse is if he doesn't die and then he runs away next turn. That's what will happen. So everyone else, the HQ has moved basically equidistant, where I can't possibly get my IS-85 unless I was to go to the woods maybe and get a pop shot, but this might not happen. So what I have to do with it now is 4 teams of panzergrenadiers and 2 machine gun nests and all those half tracks onto my aggressive infantry. So if there's any left there next turn, I'm going to call that a win for this turn. So let's have a look what happens. Okay, so all 3 infantry companies of mine are pinned. Not so bad though, I only lost 1 guy over here. The SMG company got absolutely battered, and I lost a flamethrower to the last round of shooting. The first company though was pinned but didn't lose anything, and 2 hits were scored on the IS-85 and 2 6s were rolled in reply. So that means he will be running away next turn. So it goes to the final turn for me, and to see if I can unpin anything and see what they can do. I do have my commissars alive for everyone though, so there will be some guns pointed at people's heads to keep them going forward. So Russian or Soviet final turn 8. Okay, so basically everyone rallied. The SMG company only have 2 people left, and the flamethrower, which I actually wanted, is already dead, and they stayed around. And then I rolled a 2 for the IS-85. And yeah, so of course he would, the little tease. So we'll go into my movement, and do I just pummel them with artillery and MG fire and hope for the best, or get inside to assault range and use the house to block the shots, as many shots as I can. So movement, Soviets. And this is what my movement looks like. It seems like there's something very good inside this farmhouse, leaving all the heavy machine guns behind, giving them firing lanes. So basically I need to pin the platoon that's left and the machine gun nest to basically have a chance of getting inside for this assault. But at least I will have 2 chances at least. Actually 3, because they need to be within 4 inches anyway. So let's give it a go and see if I can somehow pull this off. I don't think a very deserved win, but the Soviets will take it. At what cost though? So basically I had just right amount of shots to pin the HMG nest and the platoon in the building, but I have got no kills. So I have to go in and stab him to death instead, by the look of it. So let's see what ends up in the assault phase. 3 assaults I put into the house, of course, because there was 4 teams in it and an MG nest, that's 10, hitting on 3s. First assault had 6 hits, then the second assault had 7, and then 7 again. I only lost 4 guys in total to casualties, but couldn't get into the house. So basically Dave's turn 9, he has no last stands to pass, so that is game. And it's a 8-1 victory because he didn't actually lose any units because he pulled them back before I could get them. So I'll ask Dave what his man of the match is. My man of the match is going to be the IS-85 because he made me laugh the most, and I just wish he was there to see the end, because I reckon 2 shots into that building might have got another guy and that might have got me in, but we'll see. Dave, who's your man of the match?
It's a tough one, because they've all been pretty solid, to be honest.
Your ability to roll 6s?
What's that?
Your ability to roll 6+ firepower?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm gonna, I don't know, I think I've got a bit of bias towards the machine gun nests, but I do really like them. I think because it gave me almost like a bit of a tactical advantage with the retreat as well, whereas obviously they don't really count as part of the, they wouldn't be withdrawing them, and they'll always just stick around. And I think that's kind of what eventually won the game for me, just them being there and having a load of shots I could plow into to stop those last couple of assaults. And I think as well, they killed a bunch of guys and they killed those. So yeah, I'll go with the MG nest.
Yeah, it's pretty fair, because if they weren't an independent unit, they would have probably been withdrawn maybe a turn or 2 ago, maybe. But yeah, that's pretty good, and they were right pain, because I couldn't really go across those fields because the MG nests were all in the top floors, and they were just...
The Tigers did well for me, but the reason I'm not giving them man of the match is just because they could not get rid of that last guy.
No, he ran away. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for that game. Yeah, lots to learn from the Soviets. This mission, I felt basically I felt I could have won it in turn 2 if the Tigers. I did originally. I was thinking of having my smoke between the 2 hills. I wish I had now, but I thought that if I messed up there, the smoke would cover my infantry there for at least a couple of turns. But yeah, that's what happens. And Dave did pretty much everything I didn't want him to do in regards to collapsing back to that final objective. He didn't leave an empty shell that I could just crunch in with that second company. So played excellent with the stuff. Probably wouldn't have withdrawn the first platoon because because with their half tracks, I don't think I'd have ever been able to assault them. and then actually, I think all he did was just gave me, he teased me with the potential of sneaking the game, but nah, I felt if I'd won that somehow, I wouldn't have deserved it, and it would have been not a great victory, but nah, stunning victory to Dave, well deserved, and yeah, so probably won't have any games with the Soviets for a while because we've got all the campaigns again coming up, but when they come back for the Soviets, I will have a few more units ready. So we won't be seeing the Hero Motor Company again. Would really like to try out the Naval Company and maybe a T-34-85 Company as well. So I'll get all the stuff in for that. So till then, everyone stay safe and let me know if I've done anything wrong. Might be the biggest question with the ranged in template, but me and Dave did agree that in the game that the spotter could see it. So that was fine on our side. So everyone stay safe.